Silver Carp. At first glance, this next fish doesn't look dangerous at all, but one behavior has genuinely injured dozens of boaters across the Midwest. Imagine cruising down the Mississippi River when a fish weighing 40 pounds suddenly launches itself directly at your boat at highway speed. That's silver carp, imported decades ago from Asia for aquaculture and water treatment, now infamous for leaping up to 10 feet out of the water in response to boat motors, passing barges, or even loud noise. Beyond the physical danger, silver carp are relentless filter feeders, straining plankton out of the water column so efficiently that they outcompete native fish for the base of the entire food chain. In heavily infested stretches of the Mississippi River Basin, they now make up a large majority of total fish biomass present in some surveyed reaches, and officials remain deeply concerned about them eventually reaching the Great Lakes, where the ecological fallout could be severe.
Bighead carp. Sharing nearly identical origins and the exact same invasion route as silver carp, the bighead carp is distinguished by its oversized head and unusually large eyes, and it can grow even bigger than its jumping relative, with some documented individuals exceeding 90 pounds. Unlike silver carp, bighead carp rarely break the surface, which is one of the easiest ways biologists tell the two species apart in the field, despite their near-identical feeding habits and shared river systems. Bighead carp reproduce explosively in fast-flowing, turbulent water, with drifting eggs and larvae capable of traveling for miles downstream before settling into nursery habitat, which is exactly why containing their spread has proven nearly impossible once a river system becomes infested.
Black carp. The largest of the so-called Asian carp species currently established in the United States, the black carp was originally imported specifically to control snail populations that spread parasites harmful to farmed fish, a genuinely useful role inside aquaculture facilities. But once it escaped into open rivers, that same specialized diet became a serious problem. Black carp crush snails and mussels using powerful pharyngeal teeth located deep in their throat, and they're now considered a direct threat to native mussel populations, several of which are already federally endangered and can't withstand the added predation pressure.
Grass carp. Rounding out the group, grass carp were imported in the 1960s and 70s specifically to control excess aquatic vegetation, and they're devastatingly effective at it. A single adult can consume an amount of plant material equal to its entire body weight in a single day. Once grass carp escaped confinement through floods and accidental releases, that same appetite began stripping native vegetation out of entire ecosystems, destroying habitat that fish and waterfowl depend on to survive. Together, these four Asian carp species represent one of the most aggressive fish invasions in American history. But here's the twist. Not one of these four is actually the costliest fish on this entire list. That title belongs to something much smaller. Not every invader on this list swims in open rivers, though. The next one can survive without water entirely.
Northern snakehead. This is the exact fish from our cold open, first confirmed breeding in a Maryland pond in 2002, and now established across 14 states according to U.S. Geological Survey records. Native to parts of China and Russia, the northern snakehead is an air-breathing apex predator, tolerant of low-oxygen water most native fish couldn't survive in, and capable of eating nearly anything it can fit in its mouth. Here's what makes it genuinely different from every carp we just covered. This fish can travel short distances over land, using that ability to invade entirely new, previously disconnected bodies of water without any help from humans at all. Several states have made it illegal to even possess a live one, and anglers who catch a snakehead are universally instructed to kill it rather than release it back into the water.
Bullseye snakehead. A close relative with an unmistakable eye-like marking near its tail, the bullseye snakehead has become firmly established throughout South Florida's canal system since its introduction. Like its northern cousin, it's an aggressive, air-breathing predator capable of thriving in conditions most native fish can't tolerate, and it competes directly with sport fish species that Florida's fishing economy depends on. Surprisingly, the next invader on this list isn't a predator chasing down prey at all. It's quietly demolishing the food chain from the bottom up.
Round goby. Originally from the Caspian and Black Sea region, the round goby is a small, aggressive bottom-dwelling fish that's become one of the dominant species throughout parts of the Great Lakes within just a few decades of its arrival. Round gobies are highly effective predators of native freshwater mussels, and DNA testing has confirmed they're consuming multiple species of conservation concern, including mussels that are federally endangered. They also outcompete native bottom-dwelling fish for food and spawning sites, reshaping which species can actually survive in the same stretch of lake bed they've colonized.
Sea Lamprey. Unlike most fish on this list, the sea lamprey didn't arrive from another continent. It's native to the Atlantic Ocean, but it invaded the Great Lakes through shipping canals built to connect the region to the sea. Once inside, it found an ecosystem with essentially no natural predator capable of controlling it. Sea lampreys are parasitic, attaching to host fish with a suction cup mouth, ringed and sharp teeth, and feeding on their blood and body fluids over an extended period. Fisheries researchers commonly cite a single lamprey as capable of killing up to 40 pounds of fish over the course of its parasitic life stage, a figure that reflects its cumulative feeding rather than one single attack. Now, here's the number that matters most for this ranking. According to one of the most cited economic analyses of invasive fish worldwide, the sea lamprey is responsible for an estimated $1.39 billion in observed damage across North America, making it the single costliest invasive fish species documented on the continent, ahead of every carp species and every snakehead on this list combined. Managing that damage still requires an ongoing coordinated effort between the United States and Canada, involving targeted treatments applied to spawning streams every single year. Not every invader on this list is universally hated, though. The next two species are actually beloved by anglers, which makes managing them far more complicated.
Blue catfish. Native to the Mississippi, Missouri, and Ohio river basins, blue catfish were deliberately introduced into the tidal rivers of the Chesapeake Bay during the 1970s and 80s, specifically to build up recreational fishing opportunities. The plan worked almost too well. In just a roughly 7.5-mile stretch of Virginia's James River, researchers estimate the current population at approximately 1.6 million fish. Recent research has also confirmed blue catfish can tolerate far higher salinity than expected, meaning they're capable of expanding even farther into brackish estuary habitat than scientists originally predicted. That population explosion has come at a direct cost to the Chesapeake Bay's native species, since blue catfish now compete with and prey on fish that the region's entire ecosystem and its fishing industry were originally built around.
Flathead catfish. Native to the Mississippi River Basin, flathead catfish were deliberately stalked into Atlantic draining rivers outside their natural range, specifically to create new trophy fisheries. Outside their native waters, they become a serious predatory threat, actively suppressing native sunfish and shad populations wherever they've established themselves. Their combination of large size, aggressive feeding, and genuine popularity among anglers makes flathead catfish one of the clearest examples of an invasive species that's simultaneously a management headache and a beloved sport fish.
Blue tilapia. Originally native to North Africa and the Middle East, blue tilapia were imported for aquaculture and have since spread throughout freshwater canals and lakes across Florida and other southern states. They're aggressive competitors, consuming large amounts of plant material and altering the basic ecological balance of the habitats they colonize, and their remarkable adaptability to a wide range of water conditions has made full elimination extremely difficult once a population becomes established. Even stranger than a fish that eats mostly plants, though, is one that barely looks like a fish at all.
Asian swamp eel. Despite the name, the Asian swamp eel isn't closely related to true eels at all. It's a distinct freshwater fish, also called the rice eel, capable of breathing air and surviving in the same low-oxygen mud and rice paddy conditions that would suffocate most native fish species. Established in Florida's canal systems and parts of Georgia, this species can burrow into mud and survive extended dry periods, making it exceptionally difficult to eradicate once it takes hold in a watershed. There's also a genuine human health concern tied to this one. Raw or undercooked Asian swamp eel can transmit a parasitic infection called gnathostomiasis, which is exactly why wildlife officials warn against consuming any wild-caught specimens.